Hi, my name is Caitlin, I read a lot, and welcome back to my channel. Today is not a book video, however it is relatively requested that I do a video regarding university because I'm currently in my final year of my degree. I have a couple of questions that people have asked, but firstly, I just want to get all of the main things out of the way. I'm 20 years old, in case you didn't know. I'm in my final year, so my degree has 3 years, my bachelor's degree of business, and I am majoring in marketing and management. So if you didn't know, I live in Australia. So the way that our degrees work is you have like your main degree. So my degree is in business, and then your major is like a kind of subcategory within the business faculty. Hence why I decided my study stream would be marketing and management. I decided to study a Bachelor of Business because in high school I did relatively well in my business studies class, and going into my HSC, which is the final exam for high school, I was contemplating what I wanted to study in university because I knew I wanted to go to college, but I wasn't sure yet, and business was the only thing that kind of stuck out to me as something that would be useful to me in the future because I really want to be a writer / an author, but it's just not a very stable job as of where I am now and where the world is right now. Like I can't make a job out of it like instantaneously. It has to be something that I work towards. I decided that business would be the best route for me, and it's a very useful and very versatile job where I can apply it to any areas of my life. So hopefully it pays off because I am in debt to the government because of it. But I do want to say that I will also still be going for my dream of being a writer by doing a master's of creative writing. So yeah, that's a little bit of background information. I won't be sharing the actual university that I go to for safety reasons, but I do go to university here in Australia, here in Sydney. Yeah. And also I want to note that here in Australia, it's actually not as common to move out and to live on campus as it is in America. So I still currently live with my parents and my family, so I get to rely on my family for all of my necessities. So I don't have that pressure that I guess some other students may have to pay off my debt up front. I will move on now to the questions that I frequently get asked. So the first question is actually my most common one, funnily enough. It is, how do you balance your hobbies? Now, I'll list them off on my hand. So I have YouTube as a hobby. I have reading as a hobby as well. I have writing as a hobby. I am currently writing a book, a fan fiction, and I currently run a fandom account about Percy Jackson, and I write one-shots for them as well as posting regularly. And I also run a Instagram account where I post book reviews and book photos, so it's a bookstagram. So I kind of have like 5-ish hobbies. How do I balance them? I wish I could tell you. Okay, I think the easiest way for me to explain it is with this beautiful little book. So this is my bullet journal. I did talk about this in my last video, I'm pretty sure, but my bullet journal is literally where I organize my entire life. It is very pedantic of me. It's quite time consuming, so it's not for everyone. For me, it's very calming. I'm able to organize myself really easily with it, and I have been doing it ever since I was about 14, 15 maybe. So I've had a lot of years to really practice it and gotten the hang of it. Okay, so this is specifically for content. So this is my content schedule, and as you can see, it's color-coded. So every time I post something, I highlight around that day And then on the other side, I have, so for example, on Instagram, it's yellow for booktography. And then so on the 1st of July, I posted One Last Stop. So I've written One Last Stop, and then in brackets, I've written the date. And then I've highlighted when I've posted it, just so that I can see how often I'm posting as well as what I'm posting. And then I can plan ahead on what I want to post, and then I can also have a day next to it when I want to post it. That's how I organize like my content. I have set days in my week and in my month dedicated specifically to producing content. So for example, in my week, we'll go to this week, so Monday, I was originally going to film on Monday, but instead I just workshopped this video and I wrote down all of the things that I needed to talk about. And then today is my filming day, so I have it in pencil so that it's easy for me to move around if I need it to be. And then tomorrow is an editing day for this video, and so is Thursday, and then Friday is hopefully when I'll be posting it. So that's for like example, like a filming thing. For writing, because I am a bit of a sporadic writer, I just have it to be a daily goal to be writing anything. I do just say to myself, okay, today I want to write something. It doesn't have to be specific. It can just be an outline. It can be editing a chapter. It can be a journal entry, etc., etc., etc. Having a daily goal for myself is really good because it helps me stay motivated and it gives me something to do. So as of right now, we are currently in lockdown, hence why I've been able to create some content and stuff. And because of that, I have been able to also write quite consistently. I know that that's not doable all the time. To put some context, I'm currently not studying. Like, I am currently on my break. I have a 3-month gap between my semesters, hence why I've had so much time to create videos, to create one-shots, chapters, all of that. That is because I'm on break. My schedule changes drastically once I'm like actively studying and working. So at the moment, I'm also like not working because of lockdown. But like when I'm doing other stuff, I fit that and I work that around my schedule. So for example, I'll jump back to when I was actively working. So that was like mid to end of June. So I was working almost every day of the week, but each day, again, I just had the daily like kind of checkpoint and be like, oh, how many words did I write today? I have a writing tracker here which has every day of the month, and then I write the number of words that I wrote that day no matter what the project was. And I also have a habit tracker up here so that I can keep track of the things that I want to be consistently doing every day. Going back to how I actually balance these, for me personally, I find that scheduling is everything. As you can see, I'm very pedantic about like when I do things, and I do have a set time or like a rough time or like a set day to do things. I try not to overwhelm myself by doing too much in one day, but because I'm on break, I can be very flexible with that rule. But when I do get to studying again and start working again, I do try to keep a bit of a stricter schedule, because for me, and especially with my mental health, routine is something that like makes my brain happy. So when things are like changing and I get put in spontaneous situations where I'm not fully in control of the routine, it makes me a little bit anxious. So having at least just a kind of rough idea of what my schedule will look like calms me down a bit, and that helps with my anxiety, and it helps keep the depression at bay, which is what we want. So for reading specifically, I try to read before I go to sleep. I know it's a bit dangerous to do that because it may keep you a little bit awake, but I try to take it really easy, and I'm very particular about the books that I read before bed. I usually choose contemporaries, poetry books, or books that I have already read before. That way they don't excite me too much and they don't stimulate my brain too much. The next question, is it scary? At the beginning, I'll be completely honest, it was a bit scary. I'm a naturally anxious person. I have mentioned this before. It's a very frequently mentioned thing on my channel. I do deal with anxiety, and I have had a long history of mental illness. So change is something that does trigger my anxiety a lot of the time, but I think that if you just remind yourself that university is pretty much just another school. At the end of the day, you're just studying and it's just in a different setting. So remember that, and just remember that like no matter like how big university may seem in comparison to like high school, at the end of the day, it's just a school, but for adults. And if you look around and like spend a lot of time on like campus and stuff, you will see that everyone is literally struggling just as hard as you are. You'll make friends out of that, actually. You share that common fear and that common experience and that common overwhelming sense. It's a great bonding experience, I think, and I've definitely bonded over not being scared, but like kind of freaking out in a class, and I'm like not the only one. It makes me feel safe that other people are going through it as well, because you feel you're not alone. It is scary, but it does get easier the more you do it, just like with anything. So the next question is, what is the worst thing about uni? I think for me personally, a lot of people will have different experiences and different answers to this, but the worst thing about uni for me was being able to balance everything. It is really hard to balance all of it. That's why I'm so like intense about my bullet journal, because it constantly feels like I don't have enough time in a day or in a week to do all the things that I want to do. So at the beginning of uni, I had absolutely no balance. I was just studying my absolute all, and it ended up leading me to a burnout, and my depression hit an all-time low, and it was really, really bad. But I'm now in my third year, and I'm still having little bouts of depression, but I'm able to deal with it a lot better because I'm balancing my lifestyle a lot better. And by lifestyle, I don't just mean like studying wise. Like my study load is still the exact same as my first year. It's just I am handling the workload better. I'm handling my mental health better. I'm relatively handling my physical health better. The next question is, what is an aspect of uni you thought you were prepared for but weren't? The grading system. Okay, so this one goes out to all my gifted burnout kids, because in case you didn't know, in high school I was a bit of an overachiever, and because of that idea that was put into my head both by myself and I guess by peers and teachers and my parents, I thought I was top bleep. I don't swear on this channel, but I thought I was all of that. My grades reflected that most of the time. I was really hitting that like A region. By the end of high school, I wasn't hitting those because I was burning out. But I was very much in the 90s region for a wide majority of my classes. And when I got to uni, I had a little bit of whiplash because I was so burnt out from high school, and then I was just trying to work at the same level in uni that I was in high school. But the thing is, university work is a lot harder than high school work. So I could give 100% for high school and it would only be like 70% or like 50% in university. Like you have to try a lot more harder to be getting those marks in university, and I will be honest with you, I did not start getting the marks that are relatively on par with my high school marks until this year, or like until late last year. The grading scheme is a lot harder for university in my opinion. I know some people may disagree, but from my opinion, my experience and the classes that I took and whatever, and also keep it in mind of my past experiences and like my mental health and stuff, those were all contributors to whether or not I was performing well in my classes. I thought it would be easy to be getting like distinctions or like be at least getting credits and stuff consistently, but I literally failed like 2 classes in my first semester, and then I failed another class in my second semester in first year. So, but that's okay because I've passed every single one of the other classes I've taken since. So I haven't failed any more classes. Fingers crossed, I have 5 more classes left of my degree and then I'm done. Next, are you going to use your degree or focus on writing? So I did kind of answer this question at the beginning of the video, but I will reiterate that business is a very versatile degree, and because I chose marketing and management, those are also very, very versatile, and they're also useful in all areas of the world, no matter what industry you go into. And the thing with writing is, it's really good because I can do that anytime that I want. That has always been the plan, to use business during the day and have my 9-to-5 job and whatever, but do writing in my own time when I'm on my break, and that will be my happy time basically. Next, how did you know it was the right career path for you? I have questioned it once, like seriously questioned my degree, I think maybe last year. The only other career option apart from writing that I ever kind of showed interest in was psychology and going into like being a psychologist or being a counselor, specifically in obviously young adults because of my own experiences, and I wanted to be able to do something to give back to the community that have helped me so very much over my life. But I decided against it because of personal reasons, and also because at the end of the day I realized that it would be a lot easier for me to become a writer and to have writing on the side if I stayed with business. But I think at the end of the day, you never really know what is the right path for you until you're on it. So as of right now, I have no like hesitations, and I don't really see any point in me changing the course that I'm in because I'm doing relatively well in it now. I'm enjoying myself and I'm so close to the end. So I think for now I'm on the right path. Maybe in a couple years I will have a job, a 9-to-5 office job, and I'll absolutely hate it. And then I can just go back to uni and study. That's fine. That is always an option. Was it hard to find a new social circle? Okay, this is the part where the online university thing kind of comes into full completion. It's really hard to make friends in uni, in my opinion. Keep in mind, I'm an introvert who has a Percy Jackson fandom account, and in my free time, I watch people play Minecraft. I'm not a very fun person, and I'm very, I can be very shy and very, very closed off. My friends will be the first people to tell you that I do have a resting bee face, and that can make me look and seem very unapproachable. However, because my degree, a business degree, is very focused on group projects, I have had to force myself to make friends and force myself to socialize with the people in my group. And I'll be very, very honest, I don't have a lot of uni friends. If anything, I have maybe 2 or 3. That's also pushing it because I usually only talk to them during the semester. I don't talk to them on break, which maybe is a contributing factor of my own. Like maybe it's my fault that I'm not reaching out to them. But during the semester, I usually make my friends at the beginning of the semester because they're the ones that are in my group, and I talk to them. I ask them about schoolwork because at the end of the day, that's what I need them for. And I also talk to them about stressing out because I like talking about my stress, because talking it out is better than keeping it in. And more often than not, they're also stressing, and so it makes me feel better. And then we can kind of bounce back and build that rapport, and we can be besties about it. So for me, yes, it is really hard to find a social circle, but I am really lucky that a lot of my friends from high school are going to the same university as me. And so I still have friends at uni. They're just not friends that I made at the actual uni. They're like my friends from high school who I've known literally since I was 12. So I don't really know if that really answers your question, but yeah, I think the best and the easiest way to make friends is to just keep an open mind. Try not to be like me and be like open, approachable, smile, like actually smile. I don't smile very often, so do that. I know it sounds really daunting. It was definitely daunting for me, and I still get really anxious about it at the beginning of each semester, but it's okay. You will get through it. If you can get through like year 8, which is like middle school, I think for Americans, if you get through year 8 where you're going through your Panic at the Disco and Fall Out Boy phase and Dan and Phil phase and still have friends after that, you can get through making friends at university, because I did. Take that as your motivation. I have been break on from studies for personal reasons. Any ideas on how to get back on it? I think this question is helpful when you have like taken a gap year. I'm gonna assume, let's say the hypothetical situation is you've done your high school career and you've taken maybe a year or 2 off, just either to work or relax. I think the best way to get into it is slowly. It's very hard to get back into studying when you haven't been doing it for a while, and this happens to me every time I start a new semester because my breaks are like 3 months long. During your break, if you are hypothetically still on it, I recommend that you don't stop your brain from working, so that when you do get back into it, your brain is still relatively active. So, example, if you're a reader, don't stop reading when you're on your break. Try to keep actively reading. Try to read things that stimulate your brain, and you do things with your brain. You can do writing, you can do like brain puzzles or whatever. Do something to keep your brain busy, because once your brain starts slowing down and it stops doing things, when you try to start it up again, just like a car, it's gonna take a bit. So if you're keeping that, I don't know, is it an engine? Like if you're keeping that engine like oiled, or I don't know anything about cars. If you keep like the parts of the car in working order, your car will be fine after a long time. But if you've left that car for a long time and you haven't like checked up on it, it's gonna have a little bit of trouble starting up. When you're going into the studying, do it very, very slowly. Break it up in chunks and try not to bite off too much than you can chew. I'm just full of metaphors. Can you tell I'm a writer? So I hope you guys all enjoyed. It is not a book video. As I mentioned, book videos will be coming back soon. I just wanted to film this because I am going into my final semester, so I thought it'd be good to give some information and tips and tricks. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I have been talking for so long. Please like this video, comment down any tips if you are in university and you want to help some of my viewers out. Cool. Alright, I'll see you guys in my next video. I hope you guys are having a good day or whatever time that you guys are watching this. It is, oh gosh, it's like evening for me now. But have a good morning, a good afternoon, a good evening, a good night, and goodbye.